Eat your heart out, Zack Snyder. This is how you make a 4-hour movie. Jamie?
Yeah.
Let's go watch Lace Part 2. Everybody, welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. We're an 80s movie podcast, and every other week, or in this case, every week, we watch a movie from the 80s, or in this case, the second part of a movie from the 80s, and then we talk about that movie. I'm one of your two hosts. My name's Doug McCambridge, and with me, just having flashbacks constantly to her life, the time she gave up a baby, to the fact that that baby didn't die, contrary to what Angela Lansbury wants everybody to think.
Didn't live an easy life, let's be honest.
No. I mean,
Her early childhood seemed to be pretty idyllic, actually. She was raised by what seemed like a little farm family.
Yes.
They loved her.
The time of her life that she would forget by the time she's age 30 seemed great.
Yes.
Everything after that, questionable to horrible.
Yeah. And again, I didn't get enough flashback into that.
I didn't either. It was, and you had the benefit of having watched the second part of this, but in, doing editing and everything, I realized that the one thing I said I wanted out of part 2, I wanted more of Phoebe Cates' backstory, and I kind of didn't get that out of part 2.
Like I said, you get the early childhood,
Yes.
which was a good, but you had to get filled in a little more on the ladies.
Right,
and what these three potential mothers
but
had to endure.
We had said when we were podcasting just for the patrons, kind of glossed over Nazi death camps. Just kind of was just like, oh, yeah. Also, I was in a horrible internment camp for 10 years. Whoop, no gauzy flashback of that.
Nobody needs to see that.
Oh, my God. But if you are, let's say you're just, what a weird first episode for anybody to be joining us.
Oh, yeah.
But if you are starting to listen to our podcast today for some reason, you might want to start with the past episode, the prior episode, because we're covering the same movie. It's a 1984 TV miniseries called Lace.
Yep.
And we talked about the first 2.5 hours of this.
Yeah. It's a long
in our
one.
last episode. And now we're going to cover the last hour and a half, a breezy hour and a half, the length of a normal movie now.
And it wraps us up, of course, as a part 2 does. It takes Lace and ties it in a lacy little knot for us.
Can I tell you that I was a little bit afraid near the end of this that we were not going to get the solid conclusion that I was hoping for or that I'd expected? Like when they left the room and it was just her alone, there was a part of me that was like, what a gutsy move to just be like, this is how it ends. You know what, audience? Fuck you. You went along on this ride for 3 hours and 50 minutes? You're not finding out a damn thing.
You still got to take a guess. You still got to just rewatch this a dozen extra times to see.
And even after the one lady, we will reveal at some point, walks up the steps and you just see the shoes walking up the steps.
Up.
I kind of thought it was going to be a thing where Phoebe Cates even opened the door, smile, credits. I even thought then they weren't going to give it away.
So you were really on the edge of your seat with this as far as what are you going to...
And I get not to give too much away. Was I a little bit choked up at the end of this? Yes, I was. I really was. Sitting alone in my living room at 3 p.m. watching this. Yes.
I love it. Oh, I love this so much.
When they embraced, there was just a little bit where I was like, oh my God, okay, all right. I need to take notes about this, I guess.
Yeah. You felt it deep.
I invested a lot. You invested a lot. Anyone who watched this invested a lot.
It's a lot of time that you're taking. And, it's I'm kind of like an emotional roller coaster that you're taking on, right? And in part two, like you said, you may not get enough backstory of little Phoebe, but the tales that are weaved and told, ooh, royalty and
The thing I really wasn't crazy about is that the prince thing kept coming up over and over and over again. Like, these other two ladies kind of moved on with their lives and did different things. And I think I said in part one, the prince was the most interesting of the men. So I guess it makes sense. But it was just kind of one of those things where I was like, we're spending a lot of time with Pagan here. And spoiler alert, even in my head, I was like, Pagan's not her mom. Why are we spending so much time with this woman? And also, Jamie, I think we should just lay it out right now. Were you surprised as to who her mom was? Because I was not in the least surprised.
I was, yes and no. I think that I still, like, you weren't sure if they were going to tell you who it really was.
Right, yes.
I wasn't sure if they were going to keep it like, it was like a choose your own adventure, right? This was who I thought it probably was, but then I was like, but maybe...
Michelle, if this is a choose your own adventure book, please send it to both Jamie and me. I'll end up dying every chance I make, and I'll be like, this book's so frustrating.
This book is...
Great, a space vampire ate me? Oh, again?
Those were the best, by the way.
They were so awesome.
No, but I had a feeling that who it was going to be. We won't say who it ends up being. We don't want to give anything away. Then I was like, but maybe they are going to be so shocking and reveal that it's someone else. So in the way you thought they were just going to do a non-reveal, I thought they were going to switch up with. And you know what? Here's the other thing. I was just along for the ride. I was open to all of it and any of it. And I wasn't going to try to pre-guess any of it.
Just because I was not surprised didn't make the journey any less enjoyable.
Okay, fair enough.
That's the thing.
Fair enough. I was like, maybe it's Angela Lansbury's kid in the end. I don't really know.
The baby is dead. I killed the baby. Oh, no. You get to walk us through this, and I don't know how your notes begin, but I hope your notes begin with the opening credits.
Oh, yeah, with all the New York City Christmas.
That's great, but the fact that all of our leading actresses who we've met at this point, their portraits are framed in lace.
Oh, yes.
Over the New York City backdrop is amazing. And our wonderful patron who suggested this pointed out that Judy, who you were trying to think of last time because she's the mom in
My So-Called Life.
Our patron pointed out that she was also, her name's Bess Armstrong, she was also in Jaws 3D.
Oh.
She was I think she was Dennis Quaid's love interest in that movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Which I kind of forgot
all
about that movie.
Again, I know I did too. Until you said Dennis Quaid, I was like, oh, yeah, we did. Yeah.
I looked it up after that and I went, Leah Thompson was in that? I don't remember that. I don't remember anything about Jaws 3D. And that wasn't even all that long ago.
No.
I remember more about that horrible Parasite movie that was in 3D with Demi Moore than I do Jaws 3D.
You never know what's going to leave an impact, right? Out of all these.
Yeah, some things hang on. Yeah. I don't know why. But I love how they pick up at the it's just seamless. Oh, they even repeat the line.
Oh, yeah, they give you that titular line. Yeah, well.
The titular line, lace, 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 lace.
Which one of you bitches is my mother? How do you not allow it to open with that as it ended with that? It's just a little reminder to say remember how awesome this left you? Well, we're going to start it off just as awesomely.
And it's also such a shame thinking about the time that this came out, how in 1984, if you were to just stumble on this and be like, you know what, I heard really good things about this, and you turn on and it's just Phoebe Cates being like, which one of you bitches is my mother? And you're just watching it going, there's no way I can watch part one. There's no VHS.
Yeah, if you just caught on to part two and this is, yeah, you've missed a whole... Yeah, because even though part one was a lot, lengthwise, it was long and there was...
You miss a ton... I think they put that, which one of you bitches is my mother, for the people that didn't watch one.
So that we know where we're
without
at.
that, you would have no idea what's happening.
Then we're utterly confused because we get an instant flashback after she yells at them for lying. Doesn't she yell at them, "Stop lying"?
We talked about Phoebe Cates' performance a ton last time. She opens the way she ends. When she says, "I thought you would be embracing me. I thought your arms would be out." And then she's doing this outstretched arm acting where she's constantly stretching her arms.
Well, she did have that flowy nightgown thing on that almost makes you want to like flow your arms in that way. But yeah, she's very emotional.
Again, her accent is still there, and she's like, "Maybe I will dump your son, maybe not.
Maybe I will donate to your fund, and maybe I will not.
Maybe I will stand by all of the things that you printed. Maybe not. I have not made up my mind yet."
Such a silly goose she is, making them wild. Anyway, in a time machine we go back to graduation for these three girls.
More gauzy, Vaseline-y, moving back in time.
Yeah, just so we know we're not in the now. I'm happy to say Angela Lansbury's back. The young auntie now. She's her little giving advice about staying in Venice. The ladies are going to be traveling, these three, after graduation. We know that they're going to hide away because one of them will be having a baby. But the people coming to the graduation, parents and whatnot, believe that they're taking like a little post-graduation trip, I guess.
Right.
To...
And when you say parents or whatnot, you mean Judy's parents and whatnot. Because I don't know who's there for Maxine other than Angela Lansbury. That seems like the only person that's there for Maxine. We meet Pagan's situation.
Oh, yeah.
But Judy seems to have, I don't want to say the most stable home life, but, you know, her mom and her dad, they both show up.
Yeah, both parents show up, and her dad is not a happy man.
Her dad is not excited to meet Pagan.
No.
I've heard a lot about Pagan. I don't want to meet Pagan. I don't want to meet anybody named Pagan. Why are we here? Our daughter's not coming home with us? Okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
It's an interesting situation that these two are trapped into.
And Pagan's situation is, it's her mom is there.
Yes.
With some new business partner of hers or new friend. She introduces her as a friend at the graduation.
We get to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
We get to draw our own conclusions. Is this her mom's lover? Possibly. That's also sleeping with Pagan? Definitely. Like, I don't really understand the relationship or what this is about, but we get clues later that still don't really help us.
No, but there's tension in this relationship.
Oh, yes.
Like you said, the only one, I guess, with, quote, normal parents would be our Judy.
And again, like we said, Maxine's apparently got nobody.
Well,
she has rich family.
She must
like
have somebody, but the aunt is who shows up. Angela Lansbury is who shows up. They, after graduation, we know that they kind of all take this road trip together of some kind where they get in a jalopy of a vehicle. And they head off to, I think, a village in Italy, by the way, Angela Lansbury is talking about the sites.
I think it's just like an adorable small town where any woman can go and secretly have her baby, and that's it.
And off they go.
But also, I don't know how much sense, not how much sense that makes, but we know that the doctor that we met in part one is the doctor that delivers the baby. So wherever they go, she seems to have to then travel back into that town?
Well, yeah.
Or maybe this doctor's on call. Maybe they're paying him enough where he's like, you know what, I'll go to Italy.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I'll take a trip to deliver a baby. Not a big deal. Not a biggie. Well, they just know that they have to, because as the doctor told them when he visited them, they will not be showing, no one will know that they are pregnant. And now that they will be showing, they need to hide away because they don't want that chubby girl who does not come back in part two, that chubby German girl.
You're right. You're talking about people who aren't back. She's not back. Her mute friend isn't back. I mean,
yeah.
Although, wait, we do see them graduate, don't we?
Yeah, but I don't think we see the chubby girl there at graduation. They just say all their names at graduation. Maybe you do, but it's not memorable. I didn't write it down. So
can I tell you something that you talked about an awful lot when we recorded part one that I didn't quite get, but then after watching part 2, I'm like, oh, no wonder Jamie talked about this, is when they say sick and
Oh,
sin,
yeah.
because they only say it one time in part 1. They say it about 100 times
Their
in part
thing.
2.
It's like the
And
hand
their
gestures.
thumbs up.
Yes.
Their thumbs up is something they only do like twice in part 1, and in this I was like, oh god, they're doing thumbs up again. This is so embarrassing. Look.
It's their thing, though. They don't slap on the back. They don't. What are they going to do? They give a thumbs up, and their little, little like motto with each other is "sick and sin."
Yep.
So
Great, good stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody, go back and listen to part 1 to find out.
You're going to want to
whatever
know
that
where
means.
it came from. You're going to want to hear at least when we say it for the first time. It's thick and thin for those who need to catch up.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
All right, great. Way to not make them go back and figure it out. The one plot hole that they wouldn't understand by just listening to part 2.
Oh.
I like how they have some other couple just mail stuff for them. How they're at this cafe and they're filling out like either they're writing letters.
Oh, yeah.
And then, Pagan's like, oh, people that we just met. Here, can you please mail these for us? And the couple like walks away like, what a nice bunch of girls. They're so great. We wish they were our daughters. So they have one of them has a baby and they all go their separate ways, basically.
Right, and now we get to see what their separate ways are, what they've become. Like you said in part 1, we know that Judy is some sort of writer. We know Maxine, I believe, is some sort of designer, some interior designer of some kind.
Yeah. Like she would have her own show on like HGTV if this was today.
Yes.
Right. She'd go into a house and be like, oh, you can't sell this place? Well, maybe if you just turn your shitty couch cushions over and paint this wall red, somebody would buy your house. Like, that would be what she does.
Knock down this wall, put in a little fireplace, and you're good to go. Yeah. And then Pagan, IDK. I don't know.
Right. They do talk about
yeah.
that. How they talk about what their futures are going to be. And Pagan's like, well, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, aren't you girl? Didn't you just graduate high school? Like, you don't need to know what you want to do. Are you going to college? Like, how old are these girls? Because they seem to go from 17 to 25 in this movie.
It's more than 9 months, I guess, for the babe. I don't know.
You are right. We do see a baby born, and then she appears to be 7 or 8 years old.
So maybe they did stick around for a little while, and she just doesn't remember it. While they placed her and everything. No, they have her, and they seem to move on quickly. We get... So our first little snippet into who they've become, we get a little Judy action. And I love Judy's POV of the typewriter up. It's
God, yeah. A shot from underneath the typewriter so we can see the keys.
Yes, as she's typing away. And she works for, I guess is it like a paper, like a local paper? But
it's a magazine or a newspaper.
Okay.
I think it's a newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think a magazine has a real estate section because
that's what that other guy. That's what the Don Johnson lookalike says he does. That's what I wrote him down as.
First of all, this guy wishes he was a Don Johnson
Well, he
lookalike.
strides in.
Maybe he could be a Don Johnson stunt double.
There we
maybe.
go. All right. Well, I didn't know who he was at first because he's clearly becomes sort of a love interest, right? Yeah, he's a love interest.
Yeah, I mean, he's so.
Oh yeah, because they
into
do the
her.
little date thing. What am I saying? Yeah, they have the little date through Central Park.
First of all, he keeps bothering her while she's working. Like, I love when she gets so frustrated because at every turn he's like, "Hey, hey."
Well, she's already frustrated. Yeah, she's already frustrated because she works on she's just doing fashion for this newspaper, the fashion column, I guess. And she's clearly left out of all the big news stories, and it's very disappointing to her. And yeah, he is a little annoying. She just kind of won't leave her desk or take a hint. Invites her to lunch, and is like, "Can I take you to an expensive lunch?" And takes her to like a cafeteria, basically, to get sandwiches. But then they have a sweet little. Is this when they go to the park and there's that weird balloon mime?
Yes. I thought they went to France again. I was like,
they have a little date.
They?
These two. They go. He takes her to this crappy cafeteria for this quote expensive lunch. Then they take a walk in, I guess, Central Park because she's clearly a city girl, And they pass this balloon mime and he engages, the boyfriend or the date engages with the balloon mime and pops the balloon, and
It's a whole thing
It's a
that's
thing.
so
It's
unnecessary.
just to show you that in it she tells him what she dreams about owning a magazine someday. That she says how she hates working she wants to do something a little more hardcore than just the fashion section.
Judy's kind of, I'm going to say, the most boring of these three potential mothers, just because of who she is and what she's doing for a living. I think the other two, I don't think anyone would argue.
Got a little more exciting lifestyle.
Yes, I think nobody would argue that Pagan has the most exciting backstory.
No.
I think.
Interesting.
But even Maxine, like when she's like having sex with that guy in a wine cellar, I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And she's just kind of like, I wish they'd make me write good stories for the paper.
She does get sent to Nam. How crazy is that? How crazy is that in the middle of this, that all of a sudden we're transported to Vietnam?
That was so unexpected.
Did you expect that? Okay. We have two,
not at all. All right, this movie at one point cut to helicopters, and I was like, what? Where are we? What's going on right now? And then she jumps off in a vest and fatigues, and we see a Vietnamese mother and child, and I was like, oh no, how long are we going to spend here? Luckily, it's a minute and a half.
No, it's brief. It's
movie.
just enough to show you why she had to write the book about being, groped in Nam or something like that.
Right, exactly.
Raped in Nam, I think it's called. I think her.
I hope that was the title of that book.
I think it was called Raped in Nam. I'm not even kidding you.
What? Really?
I think maybe not. Maybe I am kidding you. But that was her experience was that they...
Those guys in the foxhole make a lot of rape jokes.
Yeah.
I get it. But also, they're all dead, and I don't know if she was raped. I'm not sure.
Well, she does write a book about her experiences. I don't exactly remember what it was called, but I'm guessing... I feel like it was like raped in a foxhole.
Raped in Nam with a big smiley picture of her on the back of
like
it.
Foxhole rape or something. I don't know. It had a crazy title. Maybe
Holy shit! We need to figure out what the name of this book was.
Maybe I did write it down.
Foxhole rape. Oh man. Oh, that's crazy. They can't be what it's called. Foxhole rape. Oh boy.
All right, so let's get on with it.
She's not even in Vietnam yet, so what does it matter?
Not even there. No, we're meeting Maxine, catching up to speed with Maxine next.
Right. Yes.
And she is looking at this old mansion of a home. These beautiful grounds, but it's a very rundown home.
Yes.
And she's talking to the owner, who's been left with the challenge of either selling this place or revamping it. It belongs in his family, and it's a champagne farm too, or he grows grapes, he grows vineyards, and they harvest champagne.
I'm sorry, Jamie. Do you mean champagne?
Oh yeah.
I love champagne. This is a champagne farm. Oh, champagne. That's not the way French people say it, right? I got a vineyard. I make champagne here. He didn't even really hire her because
we find out they were kind of set up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because he's like, you know what? Our parents know each other, and I think they just did this to set us up. Yep. And I was like, I think she thinks she's here on business.
Yeah,
dude.
She's taking this very seriously. Yeah, and she's half into him, but then half just really into the job. Because she's like, no, I can make this place beautiful. And it is. There's a lot of work to be done, and he recognizes that, and she does too. Yeah, and he seems to definitely just want to get in her pants.
Oh, yeah, no, he's, from the moment she showed up, he's like, I know what my mom was thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm on board with this. I don't care. Did you notice in this scene, she plays it so hilarious because she has that pencil which he references at one point. He's like, the only thing you have to do is when we see each other again, not to scratch your fist with the pencil. But as he's talking, she's like pointing around at things and like counting in her
Oh,
head.
yeah.
It's the weirdest
she's
like
doing her
acting
design
choice
work.
to be like.
She's doing her design work about things. How many light bulbs do we need in here? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of like tapping on the side of head and like squinting at things, really thinking about
that's
how
what
all this is
designers
going to
do,
come
Doug.
together.
That's what they do when they walk into
Yeah,
homes. Yeah.
It's great home decorating
Yes.
acting by Maxine, is what I'm saying.
Oh, so we get a little tease of Maxine, and then we get transported to what is like an athletic club or a fitness center. What is
It's
this
a fat
place?
camp, Jamie. It's a fat camp. The fact that Pagan is like, get those
Oh yeah, she
whales
does
out of my
say that
room.
there's
There's a
some-
bunch of blubbers up there.
Is that what
Okay,
it
Pagan.
is? Yeah.
I think it is. I think I was unsure because you see a lot of people doing like calisthenics outside
and
and
there's
everything.
ping pong and there's swing. Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone appears to be overweight, let's say.
I guess
But
so.
then later, when she confronts whoever this woman is, who is never identified,
No.
she's like helping an old man lift weights, and I was like, I don't know what's going on at this place.
What is going on? I need part 3 to tell me about what was going
Just
on.
the whole backstory of this place.
with Pagan's family and his mom. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just an overall like generic retreat. Like, are you overweight? Are you old? Come to our place and we'll, revitalize you or whatever.
Well, yeah, and they
But this-
definitely is like a stay away place.
But this appears to be where Pagan lives.
She's
But
still
as
living
we
a good life. She's riding her horses and doing her
Oh,
thing.
she's totally fine. She still hasn't found her purpose in life yet.
No.
I don't think she has a job. Not that that should be anybody's purpose in life. But she shows up, quickly realizes that people are staying in her room, that they've rented out her room to
Yeah,
customers.
and she's not happy about it. She shouldn't be. Who took her
No.
room at the club? You're right. Maybe it is a fat club. Well, whatever.
I think it is.
Well-
Because this woman says to her, and I thought this was kind of interesting, because now that we see a lot of it later, where she's like, "Oh, I gave you a separate like house in the back."
yeah, you
grounds
could
and
stay
stuff."
in the cottage. Yeah.
Yeah, in the cottage, and I was like, Pagan, this sounds like a good deal,
Yeah.
because I saw that room upon rewatch, because I watched it twice.
Oh yeah, that's
ladies and
right.
gentlemen.
That's right.
And the room's nothing special. The room just looks like it's just a bedroom.
But I think it's been her room.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
been her room.
Yeah,
but
but
if you
the cottage
listen,
does sound a little more.
bedroom, cottage, I'm taking cottage
I'm taking
every
cottage.
day.
I want it. Give me the cottage. I'm away from all this noise and the other. Yeah.
There's people lifting weights downstairs, right under your room. In this part 2, we learned something about a character named Pagan,
Yeah.
which I never knew. Pagan's British?
Oh.
What is with all the accents being thrown around in this movie? How did it take me 3 hours into a film to find
I
out
think-
that one of our main characters is
I think
British?
she mentioned something of that in the first one, in part 1, though. Maybe like a.
Maybe, but also there's no reason to think that she's British. It doesn't matter. In part 1, she's with that dude in London, but she doesn't have a British accent. Like, I just assumed at some point she met a Brit and married this guy. At the end of this movie, they pair them up and they're like, hey, guess what? You guys have a lot in common. You're British. I'm like, wait, what?
Oh yeah.
She's not. What? This is near the end
Oh,
of the movie.
that's right. When they're meeting for the. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
When you realize who she was, how she was set up.
Yeah. 45 minutes left in the movie, and I'm like,
Oh, is she?
One of our main characters is not American?
Well, I knew she wasn't American. She was something else.
How did you know that?
because
I thought
she-
both she and Judy were American. I did.
Oh. No, I
Yeah.
thought she was European of some European
European.
of some kind, but I didn't know. I didn't think she was American. I thought Judy was the only American.
All right. I am
And
glad
I thought
you
she was
at
like
least
the
thought
Judy
that.
was like the chick because she's from Ohio, and so I thought Judy was like the typical blonde hair, blue-eyed American girl. And the other two
Corn-fed
were, yeah.
Ohioan. Right, okay.
Like we said, Pagan is denied her room at the inn given the cottage, but basically has her mom choose between Pagan because she wants her room back. Basically tells her mom, like, because the reason she's being kicked out of her room is because this business partner, lover, other person, woman, is saying this is, we need the room for business, and kind of slights Pagan for not doing anything, for not having a job and slacking and not helping out with the fitness center, fat club, whatever it is.
But it's very much like Pagan's like, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. And her mom's like, what are you talking about? And Pagan's like, do you want to tell her? Do you want to tell her? Do you want... No? You don't want to tell her?
Something like, saucy's underneath that. And I'm like, what are we talking about, guys? I don't know.
What love triangle is that I have now gotten in this movie?
I don't know, but you will never find out because we just...
No, you'll never find out because her mom is... Pagan's upset and Pagan's like, oh, well, then I'm leaving. Me.
Yeah.
And kind of storms off to her room. And I like how her mother's like, you know what? Your very wealthy British uncle would love to see you.
She tries to make it up to her because she feels bad because she does choose the business partner. Well, I have to go inside with her, and you should leave your room. And when Pagan throws a fit, she says, "Don't forget about your wealthy uncle. I'm sure he wants your company." There's some kind of fancy event. I think it's the horse thing.
The horse thing, yes. Some sort of horse race thing, yes. How about this wealthy uncle later on when he's like, that Saudi prince wants to get into your pants with those roses.
He's the total cool uncle.
This guy's so invested in just her happiness. I loved it. I was like, this is great for her. She needs to get away from those women.
Didn't you want that uncle to meet with Angela Lansbury at some point and they could all just roll around in money and talk about bebes?
I do not want to have a baby. That's okay, because I'm super old. All right, let's get together then. Yeah, so she does go off with this guy. They watch a big horse race, but at the horse race, she sees her Saudi prince, who this time around, I realized who he looked like. Now, he is a bad guy in Indiana Jones, this actor. He looks like Andy Garcia. Like, you could have gotten Andy Garcia to play this role. Probably at this time period, he would have been a dead ringer for this guy.
I guess he does look like Andy Garcia. I see it. Well, before that, we do get to see, before we're at the horse race and she meets back up with the prince, we see Angela Lansbury driving and wanting to get pictures of the baby.
This is when she meets with the guy and he's like, cash again, madame. Yeah. She's like, cash is the best. Also, let me get new pictures of the baby. Maybe 3 pictures of the baby.
And these are great. These little, like, where they're taking pictures of the baby and then they freeze frame. It's like the little girl blowing bubbles and coloring pictures and just in a field.
Yeah, and the dad, the most picturesque nonsense you've ever. It's like
She's
Hallmark
such a cute
Christmas
kid, though.
card.
She does look like good casting. She looks like a little Phoebe Cates. Really cute.
It's very hilarious to watch these freeze frame pictures being taken. I thought you meant it's great when Angela Lansbury comes on screen because it is.
It is. Oh, it always is. Yeah.
Later on, when she meets with this guy, and he's like, "I cannot take my money. The money has not been picked up from the last time." She's like, "Oh dear." Would you like me to look into it? Oh, somebody has to look into this. She's so great. She's so great in this movie.
She really is.
I hope she was nominated for, what do they do for TV movies? Golden Globes? Yeah. I hope she got something out of this role.
I don't think she did, but...
I don't think she did either, but it's a travesty that she didn't.
I agree.
She does meet this prince at the horse, the horse thing. The horse race thing.
Yeah, I don't know it's something.
So they kind of, it's a nice little reconnection.
Yeah.
And that they get together and they go out dancing and everything. And then I think we should get into the what counts as an action scene in a movie like this. The
car bomb?
Yes.
Yeah, so they have a great little night and they reminisce, like you said, together. Because they danced on their first little night and she says, "Oh, you're still good at it," whatever. They have sweet little moments. He wants to take her back to his hotel and she wants to walk because it's a nice night out. First, his little henchmen give him kind of a hard time about it because they're like, no, we have to protect you. Someone was just, then they mention that some other Saudi royalty was just there was an assassination attempt.
Well, he said there was an assassination attempt on him.
Oh, I didn't
It's
realize
not
it was
just-
on him. I thought it was
I think
somebody in the family.
Somebody else was killed, but there was an attempt on him, he says,
okay.
previously.
Okay.
Yes.
So he's got to be cautious, and
Right.
best to take the car. And she still is like, no.
No. Because she says, she's like, you know what? Walking back to a guy's place is romantic. Driving back, not so much.
Yeah, she's a stubborn one.
Sure, she certainly is.
Yeah.
And she convinces him not to get in this car. His bodyguards are flummoxed by this. Like, when he walks away, they don't know what to do. They tell the driver, they're like, get in the car and follow them.
Yeah, because you got to protect him somehow, and now we're losing
Right.
some control because he's head over heels for this girl. And when they start the car to follow him, a bomb blows up in the car.
Kills the driver. The most
Yowzers.
innocent person here is blown up. But yes, the bodyguards like surround him and
Yeah.
take him away from
There's-
her. And then
yeah.
she's left alone and sad on the street.
A little PTSD. She's a little disturbed by this. She was just about to.
PTSD.
Yeah, like post-traumatic stress. She you could see why then she had such.
Oh no! Sorry, I was like, she wasn't the one in Vietnam. Like
No,
this isn't,
yeah,
this
no,
isn't
no, no.
reminding her of the
But
other time
no.
bombs exploded.
No,
near
she
her.
has this look on her face, like, oh my gosh, this bomb. You know.
Imagine a little diagram here: the pagan, and then the arrow that goes to drinking. There's lots of little things that leads to that,
Yeah.
and this is just
This
one
is
of
just
those
one
things.
of them. Yes.
One is possibly perhaps having to give up a child. The next one is maybe she was having an affair with some woman who her mom was also in a relationship with. I'm not sure. She was kicked out of her house. There's all sorts of things. And this is just
This is
another, like,
another piece of the time bomb.
this would be if she ever went into rehab and they like gave her a form to fill out. And it was
Yes,
just
this would
yes
be
or no
another- yeah.
questions. And she was like, oh yeah, car bomb. Yeah, I'll check that
I've
one
been
there.
there. Been there. Yeah. With my lever. Yes.
Daddy issues? Question mark. I guess I don't know.
I never
don't know
met
who her
him.
dad
Yeah.
is.
We don't know him. So yeah, let's just say yes.
If you're not sure, that's what the woman in the window would say. If you're not sure, just check yes on the form. It's fine.
This is when she returns home though, after the bombing, to the long stem roses and the uncle who's very encouraging to her.
He is very encouraging.
Yeah.
He looked like Mr. Pitt from Seinfeld a little bit.
Oh, I see it. I see it. I see all your little, your Andy Garcias. I see him. Next, I say we're champagne tasting with Maxine, where she gets
Oh,
Fondled
a little
and
more than champagne.
taken. Yeah. So
How about
things
the
are-
guy who's just tasting wine with them down there? I guess he's the guy who distills
Oh,
it or
yes,
whatever he's
yes.
doing. Wine. He's just standing there to the side while they're having this romantic outing. This guy's like swirling wine. He'll just sip it every now and then. I'm like, how did you get in this movie? Is it a contest that you won?
Well, no, he's very important to the process of the making of the champagne. So we had to get to know him a little bit. No?
Right.
She gets some action in that champagne cellar. It's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
the sauciest part of this whole movie. Like as far as
Strangely,
like
I think it
sexy
is.
saucy, right?
I think
Even
it
though we have a
is.
porn star as our lead, I think this was even hotter than any of her flashback porno scenes that we got to see.
But it's also a great, like, making out in this wine cellar. And then when it gets a little too hot for TV, Jerry Springer,
Yeah.
it pans up to just this dirt roof.
Because it's a wine cellar. I mean, yeah. Now we have another flashback of little Lily jumping in the mountains, happy with her hardworking parents.
It's pretty awesome.
Good to know that Angela Lansbury is back, this time flirting with Maxine's husband? That's not a little weird. Well, it's friendly flirting.
Angela Lansbury, again, her performance, flirting with her husband, and then also going, but where is Maxine? I do not see her any. And she's like crouching down and looking around like, where is she hiding? I do not know.
Oh, it makes me laugh so much to have you do this little French. I mean, this is one of my favorite imitations that you do, is Angela Lansbury's
Oh,
French.
good.
Yeah. You could do
Well,
it. You could do it
as
on
long
every
as she doesn't
podcast
sound
if
like
you want.
Ronald Reagan or the woman from Poltergeist,
Then-
I can do that accent.
You're permitted. You're permitted. Yes.
Great.
Yes. And they're officially together now. I don't know that they're married yet, her and her man. Or maybe they are. No, they are.
I think they are,
Yeah, they are
'cause she is
she's expecting.
pregnant.
Yeah, because she's expecting.
Right. Expecting.
Yeah.
All right. I love Lucy. We can't say pregnant on the show. Lucy's always expecting.
But her girlfriends are in town, and they're having a little get together or during, I don't know. They're having a moment together.
Yeah, this is one of the few times we see that they sort of lock themselves away in a room to have their private conversations about their daughter and everything like that. And at this point, it's really the other two being like, "Hey, Maxine, you got your shit
You're
together.
the one that's settled in, yeah.
Let's send away. Let's get that kid."
Elizabeth, I think is what they call her.
Right. At the end of this movie, I was like, should they really blame themselves for this? But also, like, Maxine really does have it all together. And I don't
she's
know
got this beautiful house.
Yes. She's
clearly got the financial support to take it on. But her concern is that she says, "No, I don't. I don't really have it together, you guys. I don't know what my husband would say if I told." And then we see, I think we even see it in these. He is very handsy with one of the other ladies, another woman.
Oh, really?
You
I
didn't
didn't
see
really
that?
notice that. No.
Yeah,
no.
because she sees it later too when she's fighting with her son, or maybe it was in part. Yeah,
That was in part one.
Yeah,
Her
that was
son's
in
not
part one.
two.
No,
I missed the guy.
I think he's a little handsy with another one of his
Really?
female workers.
Okay, I didn't
yeah.
notice that. That was a thing that maybe was fleshed out in the book. We'll find out.
Well, I'll let you know. But yeah, so she.
Stay tuned for our next podcast, folks, which is called Lace, and it's just us going through the book chapter by chapter talking about it.
It's a little different, but it's a book based on a movie from the 80s.
Right.
So it still fits in
the
our...
novelization of the Lace TV
Yes.
movie series.
It was kind of, when you think about these girls, this plan, not really the best. I get it that it's like,
No.
whichever one of us the most secure or ready or stable to bring in this baby will raise it. But as we see, even the ones as they get more stable, because later on.
Yeah, it's not a very mature plan, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
My wife used to love the show Teen Mom or 16 and Pregnant, one of those.
Okay, yeah.
And there was a couple there, they're 16 years old, and the couple was like, we're totes giving this baby up for adoption. And I always thought, like, what an interesting and, like, forward-thinking couple this is, because they totally just gave their baby up, and it was just like for a few episodes they would sometimes see it and they were able to visit this baby with the other parents, but it was like they knew they couldn't take care of it. And weirdly enough, I kept thinking about that while I was watching this, going, these girls did not think this through. Like,
No.
the best thing to do would be like, let's give this baby up
Yes.
for adoption. We're BFFs. We can remain BFFs without having a baby tie us together.
Right.
And no, they didn't do that. And now you can sort of see how they're like, well, even if we get our stuff together, that's a weird thing to do, is to take on all this extra responsibility because, and not that Pagan has a job even, but she seems to be doing fine with her mother's money or her family's money. Like, she probably could have taken this kid on.
Well, but we see there's some instability there.
Oh, no,
she
no,
was
no,
living
no.
in a room.
She's living in a cottage, Jamie.
Well, she got moved to the cottage, yeah.
Right. Who knows how many bedrooms there are in that cottage?
Fair enough.
All right. Well, anyway, so they're all hanging out, but their fun time kind of gets broken up by the rest of the party, and they have to sort of hide the pictures that they were given.
Yes, these sweet photos
sent by
of
Angela
this
Lansbury.
Sweet little Elizabeth, yes.
And get back to their lives.
Which include going to
Is
Nam.
this I was
Yeah.
gonna say, this is what Judy goes to Nam.
Judy is on war assignment.
Judy goes to Nam for a hot minute, and everyone near her dies. Like, Judy's a bad omen. You do not want Judy in your foxhole.
No, and it's or Judy or rape in your foxhole. You don't want any of
No.
it happening. But yeah, we only get, I think it's maybe a 5-minute. I think it's even less than that time.
It's nothing.
in
Yeah, it's
just enough to
like,
know.
right.
Yeah.
It's like, we got choppers, we got fatigues for an afternoon. Let's film this scene right now.
And we got it. But then, like you said, everyone around her dies, and she is just as Pagan was in a state of shock when the car bomb went off. You can imagine the PTSD. that is going
Judy.
to-
Judy's got her own PTSD going on here.
Whew. Now we see poor Lily, or Elizabeth, is getting teased at school. I don't understand this because they're saying she doesn't have a mother and a father, but she's got a man and a woman that are raising her.
Yeah, I was like, they might look a little old, but these kids don't know that.
Apparently, even the kids at school know that she doesn't have, like you had said, they I guess these parents, because she calls her parents by their first names.
Right,
or these
yes.
People that...
Angela and Felix. I wrote them down because it's just such
So
dumb
then we
names.
should note them since you wrote them down. Right. She calls them Angela and Felix, never mom and dad, but they treat her just, it's not like they mistreat her at all, that we can see that it
I can only imagine Angela and Felix went to school one day and were like, to the teacher, like, it is important.
You need to tell all the school children.
Here knows that this is
we are actually not her parents, and her mom is going to send for her.
Yep. If she does something wrong, we are not to be held responsible.
Because we're not really, we are just watching her, and she's helping us with some of the farming.
I assume they were on the playground later being like, this girl is parentless, everyone. Just so you all are aware, we are not her parents. We're what you refer to as guardians.
Yes. Not of her own.
She gets teased in the weirdest little, like, cut scene, because then it just goes away.
Yeah.
That's it. Done.
It's just to let you see some of the trauma that poor little Lily is experiencing.
Right.
Not the trauma we want to see, though.
No.
But anyway.
Not the death camp. Not the Nazi death camp that she goes to.
That we want to experience. We never do. Now we get to see Pagan living the sweet life, riding camels with the prince.
She really is living the sweet life. So he apparently flew her out after this horse race, or this bomb. I'm sure he felt bad. His bodyguards took him away.
Yeah, so out
he
she
flies
comes.
her out. They have horse races, and then he's like, "You're pretty good riding horses. How about a camel race?"
Ride a
and
camel.
It's kind of funny. She can't ride a camel. And his entourage has set up sort of like a sex tent for him on the grounds where they go in and he's like, we got 3 hours. Because they all walk away. You see them all leaving.
Well, because they don't really leave the prince in private. They have to protect him, right?
Yep. It's very funny when he says 3 hours and she's like, what are we going to do for 3 hours?
He confesses then how much he loves her and how much he's cared for her.
Yeah. He's like, I had all those sex lessons. Remember I told you about the sex lessons?
Yeah.
But even in those lessons, I never found anyone that I loved. Blah, 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 so on and so forth. It's adorable.
It's very
and
sweet.
You really see that they're falling for each other. Dun, dun, dun.
I know. Not the case for our prince. We get a little flashbacks. Judy's decided to write her book about her experiences of Nam, which I think is Rape in the Foxhole.
Okay.
Maxine does have a new baby, and this is when you could see her husband Charles is flirting with another girl right after she has the new baby.
I did not notice that.
You should have paid better attention.
Yeah,
Pagan and the prince have the rendezvous, but they don't really get any time alone when they're at the castle. And then, this is when the prince's dad is really sick.
Well, this is where they have a little party, and the prince's dad, maybe we should just call him the king. The king asks for her, Pagan, to sit next to him.
Yes.
It's a big honor. And she sits down next to this white man.
Yeah.
He's not this
guy,
like... At least the other guy, they put him in brown face or they put him under a tanning bed or something. This guy's just an old white guy. And I was like, this is embarrassing, movie.
Yeah.
So, and this guy's like, hey, listen, you're pretty cool. And you know what?
He might even like you,
If it were up to me, you and my son, you'd be so great. But you know what? We have other countries that we're having a problem with. And look at that woman over there. You can only see her eyes. She might be that old lady from part 1. Maybe a young woman, not sure. But she's the one who's going to marry my son. P.S. Get out.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, and we can tell. And he knows, right? Does the prince know or not yet? No, not yet.
I don't know.
No, the prince doesn't know, I think, until the dad does finally pass. So
I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt, but to what we're going to see next, I'm really unsure, because she wakes up in the middle of the night to wailing and sadness and gongs and stuff like that, and she finds out that the king has died. So the new king is this hunky prince, and she's like, I gotta see him. And sorry, he's mourning his dad, and also he's going to marry somebody
Yeah,
else. But
it's
you
not
know what?
yours.
He really, this is the other guy, the guy who later on, or in part one, was like, remember me? Remember me? We hung out.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who's like, he really wants to make sure that you're happy. He hopes you have a great life.
Yeah.
Also, you got to get out, but
Yeah.
he's made arrangements and
Yeah,
everything.
but he's figured it out, and she's,
Yeah.
as you can imagine, Pagan
Devastated.
is devastated. Yeah,
Yeah.
she is not happy. But such is the breaks when you fall in love with a prince, right?
Yeah. Now let's spend the most time in this movie with Angela and Felix.
Oh yeah, Elizabeth's
Because-
parents.
This is when Felix, we see Lily in the room drawing this wonderful picture, which comes up later. Felix is like, hey, listen, I heard from my brother. Bad shit's going down. We got to go.
We got to go to Budapest.
She brings out these adorable pictures of her and a blonde mother. Fine, okay, we may already know who the mom is, but whatever. And the Angela's face is horrified by this revelation that they have to go get this guy's brother, and that they all have to go
As a family unit.
I
It's a whole family trip. They only have the one car. I don't know why. But
I
because
don't
she
know
even
why.
says later, Angela's like, why did we take the little girl? We shouldn't have taken her. But
Yes.
well, she can't stay home at the farm. The neighborhood kids are picking on her, I guess.
But
I don't
why
know.
did Angela have to go? Felix, it's your brother. First of all, don't burden your family with this because they're going to get the money whether you're there or not. Angela Lansbury's taking care of everything.
Yeah.
So if you think this is a death mission, what you do is you don't talk to your wife about this. You sneak
You
off
just
at
go.
night and you try and get your
Yeah.
brother. And then if you are killed,
The
you know,
family- Mm-hmm.
bad day for you, but the family is fine.
And this little girl
Terrible.
doesn't have to watch it all.
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, Judy's got her book out, Raped in a Foxhole.
That's what it's called, Rape in a Foxhole.
Is it really?
Yes,
Are
I
you
wrote it in my
serious?
notes. Rape in a Foxhole.
That's
Uh-huh.
crazy. That's crazy. These men died in a foxhole around her. And she honors their memory by writing a book called Rape in a Foxhole.
Yep. And she celebrates by making love with her boyfriend and eating hot dogs under the covers. I wrote
I
that.
cannot.
Yeah.
This is, first of all, I really do find it funny anytime in movies people are like having sex and they're completely under the sheets
Oh,
because
yeah.
it looks like ghosts are having sex. But the fact that at one point he's like, you want some relish? And I was like, what's happening?
They're
in this
eating
movie
hot
right
dogs.
now?
When you get raped in a foxhole and you want to celebrate the story, you eat hot dogs underneath the covers. That's how it goes down.
Now I know.
Now you know how to do it.
So she's talking to him and she goes, listen, I can't really do this whole small apartment thing anymore. I'm going to be having a mystery guest
Yes.
who I need an extra bedroom for.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's a dope because any normal human being would be like, are you pregnant? But this guy's like, so are you going to have another man like living with us or something?
Yeah.
Like, is that what you're planning on? It's like, what are you talking about, dude? But she decides not to tell him about this at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess in her mind, she's now hit it big as an author.
Right,
So,
so she's
Maxine didn't want
stabilized.
the baby. It is her turn.
Right.
She's up. Now let's go to Nazi Germany. Let's go back in time. I don't know, 30 years to Nazi Germany. Because this is when Felix brings his entire family along, crossing the border. They pick up the brother and then they try and just drive back. And they're like, people are checking trunks.
Yeah. And then they decide, he sees this little checkpoint, and the brother's like, well, just drive. And even Felix is like, but they're going to see us drive off the road.
They're right there.
Yeah.
I can see them. They can see us.
But they do it. They drive off the road, and then they're hiding. They're running in the woods. And they're telling the little girl that it's a game they're playing. They just have to be
They're
very
playing
quiet.
hide and seek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get chased down and gunned down. First it's Felix that gets shot.
Yeah.
While he's with her, while he's with Elizabeth.
Uh-huh. They all have a chance to talk briefly before they die, which is ultra sad, but also so movie cliche. Because, like,
Yeah.
he appears to be dead, and then Angela comes back, or Angelina, whatever, comes back for him and picks him up, and he's like, oh, save the child. And then she's just, like, dragging this kid behind her, almost like she's using
as a
as a human
shield. Yeah,
shield.
she's like, come on. Felix told me to save you. Now I have to save you. And then
But yeah, they're
she
all
gets
killed.
shot. The brother gets killed. And
It's a
before
whole sad thing.
Angelina dies, she tells her, "Your mother will come for you." Which, don't put that kind of thought.
Don't
into
make
this
those
kid.
promises.
Yeah.
If anything, be as harsh as possible and be like, I don't think your mother's coming for you.
Yeah, I don't know how she's gonna find you after this. I don't know,
Right.
because
I would have been like, find an elderly French woman with a bad accent, maybe.
it's the best you can do. But this is when that elderly French woman with the bad accent finds out that her money is no longer going to. It's being returned
Yes, right.
because the
exactly.
child is dead. The child
Yep.
is dead. Everybody's dead. The king is dead. The child is dead.
Oh,
Sorry,
let's-
am I
yeah,
skipping
let's talk
too
about
far
this.
ahead when
No,
Maxine
let's talk
does
about
her
this
visit?
intervention. We got to talk about this intervention here. This attempted intervention.
Maxine goes to visit Pagan, who's been in the cottage and drinking heavily in the cottage.
Yeah.
And Maxine convinces her we need a trip. We're going to go to New York and we're
Right,
going to go
yes.
and we're going to see we're going to get and then we'll get Elizabeth. And then that is that's going to make it all better. You'll take care of a
Yeah.
baby and that will change. You'll have all this energy to put into taking care of this little girl.
It's so funny because it's like, listen, I got my shit together.
Yeah.
Judy, she's an award-winning novelist. You know what you need? A baby dragging you down.
If you
That's
had a
what
little
need as
girl,
a
you
child.
couldn't drink like this because you'd have to be taking care of the little girl.
Right.
So we're
yes.
going to take a little trip and then we're going to get that baby.
Right. So you're either going to turn your life around or destroy your life and this
And
child's in the
both,
process.
right.
We'll see.
But we're going to
It'll be
support
fine.
you. We're going to support you and watch from afar. Yeah.
But Judy's having a big lace party. It's a big, like, lace coming out party.
Yeah, this
Did you notice
magazine
that
is ready.
Judy's dressed like a Pan Am stewardess for some reason in this scene? She's got like one of those pillbox hats on.
Oh, yeah.
It's so bizarre. At this scene, when they all get together, they see each other, and it's the whole sick and sin thing. And
Yes.
oh, she didn't know they were coming. Oh, this is so
Oh, yeah.
great.
They said they couldn't make it, but they're really here. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then a phone call comes.
Because they again locked themselves away to talk about this
because
baby.
they want to chit chat in private about the baby.
The phone call comes, and a distraught Angela Lansbury with this accent is still as funny as funny Angela. Like the fact that she's like, "You ladies, you have to prepare yourselves for the worst news possible." And I was like, I should not be smiling at this point in the movie, but you got to get off screen. I can't help it when she's on. But she tells him that the baby's dead. Oh my God. Then, did you notice that in the room, they all have their hands on their faces
Yeah,
in
in
various
different
sad
ways, yeah.
positions?
They're all somehow holding their face in a state of shock and anguish. And the three of them fight. Again, they each blame themselves for not being like ready sooner or taking her sooner or finding her sooner. And you said you were settled and you said you could. And
So now we know why they weren't getting along at Angela Lansbury's funeral
Right,
in part
right.
one. The way this flashback ends is with Judy walking out and some random woman making a snide comment about her child's drawing. This woman
yeah.
nobody walks up and is like, is that one of your early pieces? It's the drawing of the little girl and the mom.
Right.
And that's how this sad flashback ends. So just like part one, we spend the great majority of the episode in this flashback. Like with these three women, but now we've seen how it's all gotten to not how it's gotten to the point that they are now, because a significant amount of time has passed from the end of this
to
present where
day.
we are now.
Right. But this was the story. Remember that they were telling Lily to keep her up to speed as to why they never came for her.
Yes,
because
exactly.
they thought she was dead. I mean, they could have simply said, "We thought you were dead," but they wanted to give her a backstory of exactly what their experiences were leading up to that.
Yes.
This is when...
And just to let listeners know, if you listen to part one, you knew how distraught I was after we left Switzerland last time, and we were on the Phoebe Cates ride. I got to tell you, I was so thrilled to be back on the Phoebe Cates train after this.
What accent is she going to bring us now? An Irish accent? Interesting choice.
Like I said, this is when she has hands outstretched acting for a long time. She's talking about this prison she was in. She's like, I scrubbed so many toilets. So many hands were all over me all the time.
Yeah, she's got to let the scrub so many toilets.
She says, like, that's one of the worst things in her life. I was like, weren't you a prostitute? Like, that was the big thing in part one. But she's like, I had to clean shit out the toilets. It was the worst.
And the whole time she was thinking her mom was going to come for her.
Right, yes, exactly. Maybe today. Maybe today.
Nope, not another toilet. Not another toilet. But this is, she gets very emotional with them. And they keep asking her, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you hanging this all over our heads like this? And again, because I want you all to suffer. You should all suffer.
I know why you're not claiming me. Who wants a porno queen for a daughter? I like how Pagan stands up at one point and just totally shuts up Phoebe Cates. And then just walks by her to get more booze. Like her glass was just empty.
Well, because Phoebe thinks she's going to maybe own up to I am your mother and I'll claim you as the porno queen that you are. And she does.
This is fantastic. Like if this whole movie just took place in this room and it was just Phoebe Cates yelling.
Oh, it was fantastic.
I would still be totally down with it.
I agree. No tear for Lily. Nobody cries for Lily.
I love it.
None of you is good enough to be my mother. It's a whole monologue performance.
It takes forever to get through. I love how it ends is they still won't tell her who the mother is. And she has a mini staring contest with each one of them.
Well, then she tells them, get out.
But it's really like get out. Also, no hard feelings. I'm not going to hook up with your son.
Oh,
Don't
yeah,
worry about your charity. You'll get your
like,
money. And I'm not going to refute anything you put in that article, ladies.
Just do it.
You know what? I'm the bigger person here. Good night.
Right. She tells the little birth story right before she
does
that little pose. She says, I was born, whatever, you do it so well.
It really is. It's like, I was born Jennifer, blah, blah, blah. And I was born in Switzerland, and the doctor's name was Dr. Romero. Like, she knows everything. Because they even said, like, how do we know that you're not just lying about this? But she walks away, and they go down to the bar, and it's a crazy, like, harsh cut to some permed woman singing at a piano bar, and it's her voice is not good.
No.
And we cut to the three ladies sitting there, and they say to the waiter, "Can you tell her to stop singing?
Yeah, can you please, or have her sing something else?
Yes,
we're over
this
it.
is such a drag." And I listened through the whole scene. The song never gets more upbeat.
No.
It just stays as depressing as it was. And they're sitting there, and they have such a laugh about their prostitute porn star daughter.
They rebond, they reconnect after this. Because don't forget, they were still, when they met up at Phoebe's apartment or Lily's apartment, they were still angry with each other. They didn't want to be together. But now this whole thing has kind of reunited them. And so, they have a little laugh about the porno queen that one of them has given birth to. But they realize that they take it all in, and they realize that she must be telling the truth. She is not trying to scam them or anything like that.
Right, exactly.
She knows too much, and she is. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do with Elizabeth now that she's here and she's this porn star actress that we all must love? And it's Judy, I think, that says, well, Elizabeth's real mother has to do this on her own. Because they're trying
Judy's
to
like, we can't do this group mother thing anymore. Then, because I was ready for a cut to, her meeting her real mom. No, we cut back to the piano playing woman. And she's playing Deck the Halls. I don't know if you noticed this at all.
Oh, and there's a group of people around her, right?
There's a group of people. No one knows the lyrics for Deck the Halls, too. Everybody's like, fa la 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 fa la 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 la. Like, it's so weird. I was like, I think that's in public domain. Like, you don't need to. Also, you're playing the music, but all these people are standing around, and I'm sure they were just told to be drunk or whatever. Nobody knows the lyrics. Everything is la la la. It's so great. It's weird. And also I forgot that this movie opened with Christmas in New York shots. Like
yeah,
I kind of forgot that it was Christmas for some reason.
Right.
Lily, she's in bed. She gets a call from the front desk. And the guy's like, "Hey, your mother's here. What do you want me to do?"
Yeah.
Phoebe Cates just standing up in that big feather, whatever the hell she's wearing, with her hands on her head, as you hear this guy in the background going, what do you want me to do? Should I and she's just standing there with her hands on her head. It's so amazing. And finally she's like, "No, just shut her up. It's okay. Don't do this. It's all right."
Yeah. No. But this is the moment. It's her crazy acceptance of the moment that's about to be upon her. Is all this time, all these years, all of this hostility she brought upon these three women, and finally one of them is about to come clean.
Yes.
And I don't even think that she knew she was going to feel this way. She's so emotional. She stands by the stairs and peers through the staircase.
She sits on the steps and looks through the spindles like a little kid spying for Santa. It's amazing. Again, I said she should have won a Razzie. I'm taking it all back because this is such a bizarre but amazing performance by her.
It is.
I'm going to say it right now. Like just sitting there staring through those things, like the one spindle has a little curl, so she makes sure to get her one eye right up to the hole. It's so great. And then it's revealed that it's Judy.
Judy was the mom.
Of course, it's Judy.
It's Judy and the banker's kid, right?
Because it makes possibly having sex with your dad and possibly having sex with your stepbrother not mean anything anymore.
No.
So, of course, it has to be Judy. It really does drag on for a little bit, just the whole build up to this.
Oh, yeah, because we have a teary-eyed, slow-moving Phoebe. She doesn't move fast in for the hug. But she falls into her mother's arms. She collapses into her mother's arms, and they embrace. And you said you felt a little...
I totally did. I totally did. This movie got me the way that only, I don't know, ESPN documentaries get me. Like, I don't know why that stuff does. Right. But yeah, it really did work. I felt it. Now, can I make one small change that should have been made to this movie?
Yeah.
Because like I said, I knew very early on, or I felt like I knew early on, that it was Judy. And the reason I thought it was Judy is because she named her stupid magazine Lace. But it's an easy correction to make, because the other two, you know how people on like palatial estates or people in the deep South like would name their property like somebody's name.
Oh, right.
Like Maxine should have named that house and that property like Lace. Like that would have been great if we saw a sign outside that said Lace.
But why was it
something.
Lace that gave it away for you?
Because she was looking for Lucinda Lace.
Oh, right.
Like,
okay.
Yeah. And if what's her name, Pagan's Charity was called like Lace
so that would have been a nice so if each of them had a like,
because that really was
Lace
like when I
tie-in.
found like early on when it was like, oh, Judy's writing these trashy novels and the heroine's name is Lucinda Lace. And we just heard Phoebe Cates asking where Lucinda Lace is. I was like, wait, I thought this was supposed to be a mystery. So that's the one thing that gave it away for me. I would have liked if they just made that little change.
Nice
but now
edit.
we can talk about our final
Nice
thoughts on this
edit.
movie.
Well, what were yours?
I really enjoyed this.
Me too.
I enjoyed this way more than I should have.
Me too. That's why I watched part 2 right after. It was an unexpected enjoyment to me. It was like what it was supposed to be, this like drama miniseries where I was like, yeah, what is going to happen next? And the overacting and the terrible accents, all of it made it that much more fun to watch. And made it, and I guess that's another thing, is it was so unrealistic that you knew you were diving in head first into it was a pleasure. It was a long journey, and so it was hard to say, do I recommend our listeners first of all, if our listeners want to watch it and haven't seen it, they have to buy it. in DVD form, and then have a DVD player to watch it when. I want to recommend that you do that, though, that you watch it, that you buy, or if you have the opportunity to.
Yes.
It's
this movie is something where at some point, I don't remember when in my life I sort of realized this, but I once like watched an episode of a soap opera, and I sat there and I was like, this is not for me, but I totally understand why people would like this.
Oh, right.
And that's what this felt like. But also I was like, oh, I don't have to watch years and years of this to care about the characters. Like I was like, this is a soap opera that goes on for 4 hours, and I was totally into it.
Yep.
Like you said, the overacting, just the fact that seasoned actors are just leaning into this and just being like, I'm going to gnaw the hell out of all this scenery here. This is cameras on me. I am going crazy.
Yep.
And you can see it with almost everybody in this movie. It's really
It's a
great.
delight.
Michelle, this was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. And I have to say, at first, I think we both were rolling our eyes at the amount of time we were going to have to spend on this. Very hesitant I was about the fact that we had two discs to dive into, and I breezed in it. I breezed right along with it. It was like being on Lily's yacht and just.
I think we can say this now, and I'm glad I did not keep the recording going after I told you it was 4 hours long, because both of us were shocked by that amount of time. Neither of us were looking forward to getting into this, but yeah, it was worth it. So thank you, Michelle. That was awesome. That was great.
What recommendation do you have then?
I watched this little horror movie. It's going to sound stupid. The movie's called Slacks with 2 X's.
Oh.
It's about a pair of killer jeans.
Ooh, because they're slacks. I see.
It sounds dumb, and it is dumb, but I was surprised watching it how not cheesy and not dumb it actually was. Like, they took the goofiest premise and tried to kind of play it straight at times.
Okay.
It's so much fun, and everybody should watch it. I think it's on like Shudder. It might be on Amazon Prime, but Slacks is definitely worth checking out. It's so stupid and awesome.
All right. Silly, stupid Slacks. I'll take it.
Yeah. Killer Pants, and most of it, I do have to say this, with something about Killer Pants, there's very little CGI in this movie. Somehow they were able to do a lot of this stuff with practical effects, like making pants look like they're walking around and killing people, and it did not look CGI to me, which is crazy.
And you're saying this was good. You liked it.
I am. I don't want to talk about it too much because it sounds...
Okay, no, that's fine. I'm going to take your word for it, though, with Slacks, I think. Maybe if I come across it. Did you watch it on the Netflix? Was it a Netflix one?
It was on Shudder.
Oh, okay.
Which is it's like a horror thing you have to pay for. So.
All right, so Slacks.
If people have that, check it out. Yeah.
Check out the Slacks. All right, I know we said we were going to keep our recommendations, but they didn't have to relate necessarily to the movie. But since we were so in Phoebe Cates' world, I couldn't help but recommend my favorite Phoebe Cates movie.
I know.
Princess Caraboo. It's also the movie in which she closed out her career. Well, I think she did another. Yeah.
She did one more. She did the
anniversary party.
Anniversary party
Kevin.
in 2001 because her friend like directed it or whatever.
Right.
But yes, like that was it. And we're never going to talk about it because it's what,
94? No, 94.
Yeah.
No, but it's a great Phoebe Cates vehicle. And again, I would like to watch it now and compare, knowing that this was a performance that she did, and compare to her princess, because she plays a foreign princess of pretending to be a foreign princess, if you know anything. It's based on a true story of a Princess Caraboo.
You'd like to think that it's just sort of the same story.
Yeah.
Like just
it's this, but without the prostitution, I think, or without.
Oh, okay. All right, pretty much. Okay, great. No, I know it's a favorite of yours. I should get it for you because I know a Blu-ray was put out, and I'm sure it's fantastic. So, all right. Well, look for that.
Well, all right.
Your birthday, 1 year from now.
I will.
So, thank you again, Michelle.
Yes,
this
Michelle.
was so much fun.
I really
Our first
appreciate it.
2-part episode, the longest movie we've ever watched.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm challenging myself or anybody else, but I think this is probably going to stand as the longest movie for quite a while.
I agree.
So I thought we could, as a palate cleanser,
Yeah.
let's say, we just watched a 4-hour movie. So Jamie, how would you like to watch a movie that isn't even an hour and a half long?
Wow. What is this?
That might be nice. Our next episode will come out after Earth Day, and it comes out on Arbor Day.
Oh,
So I thought we could watch a movie called The Forest.
yay.
Hold on. Sorry, let me say that again. Jamie, we're going to watch a movie called The Forest.
Oh.
Because it's a horror movie called The Forest.
I love it. Let's go chopping wood. and- I don't
Chopping
know.
wood and chopping up teenagers or whatever. I think it's
imagining
a
if there's-
slasher movie. I saw
Okay.
I found a really bad rip of it on YouTube.
Okay.
It looked really grainy and terrible. But you know what? We're coming in at like 80 minutes, and I think it's just sort of
That's the right reset.
the exact opposite of what we just watched.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so we will see you folks in 1 week.
That's not
1
far
week from
away.
today.
Yeah.
When we watch The Forest. Remember, we're on Patreon, all that stuff. You know what? We talked about Patreon, I think, in here since we mentioned
I
that
think that was in
Michelle's on
part
Patreon.
one. But that's
Yeah.
okay. No, oh
Doesn't
yeah,
matter
you're right.
who listens to part 2 without listening to part 1. Anyway, everybody, we will see you again in 1 week. Again, 1 week. So until then, have a great week.
Bye.
Stop lying! All of you! Don't lie to me anymore!
Maybe she had an affair with some.